Come manifest your best life with 190 Vision.
You might have heard us talk about the violet flame. Maybe you even watched the video that we have about the violet flame. Today, we're going to go over a little bit about what the violet flame is and the background of it, but more so, we're going to focus on how you can use it every day in your life. I'm going to ask my husband to share with you what the violet flame actually is.
I mean, I have to give that whole long explanation when you already know the answer. Boy.
Come on, this is you have to get involved.
So let's start out with this, right? So the violet flame, there's this story where Moses goes, he sees something burning on a mountain. And so he decided to find out, what's this fire? Why is there a fire up on top of this mountain? And he decides to go and investigate. What was the name of that mountain? I think the name is still the same. What's the name of that mountain?
Do you really want me to try and pronounce the name of this mountain? Okay, Horeb, Mount Horeb.
You know how to pronounce that. I just want to know if you remember the name of it. Because I kept thinking it was a Mount Sinai. So right, Mount Horeb, right? We say Horeb, you say Horeb. It's like tomato kind of thing, I guess. Anyway, so he goes up to the mountain and he gets there. He sees this tree that's on fire.
Bush.
Okay, bush, right? Wait, it's okay, bush, tree. It's on fire. But he noticed that it didn't incinerate. It's not like it was actually on fire where it was turning to ashes. So he was curious about this. So how could this happen? How could something look like it's on fire, but it's not turning into ash? And as he got closer, he asked questions, of course, the story goes, and then a voice answers. He realizes that it's God's presence that's there. And that's what the violet flame is. It's a flame that burns away negativity. Put it this way, it transmutes it, it changes it from something negative to something positive. But it doesn't physically burn because that's not what it does. Does that answer your question?
Oh, yes. It was more so for our viewers so that they could understand more about what the violet flame is.
So where do we go from here now, since we now know what the violet flame is?
Well, we know what it is. How do they use it? Or not even so, how do they use it? There's an actual decree that we give individuals to say it, and it's very simple. And I think that's important to also mention what this decree is before we continue.
Right. Well, first of all, it's called violet flame because it's actually violet in color, correct? It's purple, violet. Some people are picky about the color. So whether you want to say purple or violet, that's a color. We say violet because that's the name of the decree. So what's a decree? I guess it's a question. A decree actually means a command. It's something that you say because you know it's going to happen because you're commanding it, right? In the Bible, it's written in the Old Testament that God decreed. And then, of course, when he decreed, things happen. Or it also says in the Bible, decree and so shall it be, as in command it and then it will come to fruition. And sometimes we forget that, right? That God gave us dominion over everything on earth. That's in the Bible as well. What does that mean? It means that we literally have power over everything on earth, including the animals. It's written in the Bible. So a decree that reminds us that we literally have that power, right? That we can create, whether it's positive or negative. Now, decrees are similar to affirmations because they're words. However, the difference between an affirmation and a decree is that a decree is given to us by an ascended master. They tell us, say this, and my frequency is tied to that. So that whenever you say this, your frequency then gets raised and it's multiplied by my frequency, and whatever you say becomes more powerful. The chances of it happening become greater because an ascended master is helping each person that's saying that decree. With an affirmation, it's still just you. So
Okay.
I wanted to add that portion. For
All right.
individuals that might be wondering, okay, so um, how does that work? Well, a decree you have to say out loud. Now, it doesn't have to be loud as in making a spectacle of yourself or where everybody hears you, but you have to verbalize it. You have to say it through your mouth. If you think it, it's not as effective. That's why it's called a decree, because it has to be said. You ever watch those old movies where the king decrees something? Right? They might say the decree, the king just decreed something.
Mm-hmm.
What normally happens?
Well, they're normally announcing it out loud to the crowds of people.
You notice that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? They might even have this guy that blows into something to get everybody's attention.
Horn.
Horn, there you go. Thank you. And then there's someone that reads the whole thing. His Majesty decrees, and then they read this whole thing. If you notice, they don't post it somewhere. They literally go through the trouble of having someone announce it so that it takes effect. That's what decreeing is. So you always should say it. And again, it comes from the Ascended Masters. Now, Violet Flame comes directly from Saint Germain. Saint Germain is the sponsor or the Ascended Master responsible for the Violet Flame, because the Violet Flame is also tied to freedom, any kind of freedom, whether it's um, freedom from, let's say, abuse, freedom from a victim mentality, freedom, say financial freedom, emotional freedom, anything tied to freedom, freedom from slavery. That's all tied to the violet flame, because the violet flame changes all that energy tied to any of those negative things into freedom. So I've given my speech.
Thank you for that. And what is the decree that we usually give individuals?
Well, it's not what we give them, it's what has been handed down to us by Saint Germain, right? And
Yes.
so then we're just passing it along. So we didn't come up with these words. These were given to us by Saint Germain, and not even to us, given to a different messenger, or given to a messenger, and we just happened to be exposed to the decree, and we were guided to distribute this decree to individuals that require cleansing of any kind, including ourselves. So it's not like it's just for certain people, it's for everyone. Everybody can use it. Now,
Mhm.
you know the decree, so I won't say what it is. I'll leave that up to you.
Okay. The decree goes like this: I am a being of violet fire. I am the purity God desires. Now, the key is to say it in multiples of three. So I just said it once, but I should say it two more times for it to be effective, and then continue saying it in multiples of three until things improve.
And when you say things, what are you referring to?
Aha! It could be maybe how I'm feeling. Maybe I started saying it because I was feeling bothered or upset by something that was happening. Or
Okay.
it could be I'm using it for a specific body part that was feeling pain. It could be I used it for a loved one or a friend who was having a challenge. It could be for anything, but the key is to say it until there is some improvement.
Now, you say until there's improvement, is there a specific time frame, like a duration of time that passes by?
Uh, no, only the time that one tracks. And for me, I have said the violet flame for about an hour or longer at times because of different things that were going on.
So it could be a minute, it could be an hour or longer, is the
Hmm.
point.
Yep, just keep saying it.
Okay. So what happens if you're in a crowd? There are people around you, and you feel that you should be saying the violet flame. What do you do now?
Well, you can very easily pretend you're a ventriloquist where your lips don't move much and just quietly whisper, I am the being of fire, I am purity, God, and continue doing that until you feel better with whatever's going on in that crowd.
Or something that I used to do a lot is that I would just excuse myself and go to the bathroom and just
If
say
that's
in the
an option.
bathroom, that way I feel like I have more freedom, right? And I could verbalize the decree easier without too much attention. Even though I go into the stall, at least nobody's looking, but then I can say it louder. So that's
Mhm.
another option, I guess. So now, how about if you give some examples of how you use the decree? For example, you said, um, if you are not feeling well, what do you mean by you're not feeling well? Because you don't really get sick, thank God,
Uh,
anymore, right? So what do you
right,
mean
I
by
don't.
not feeling well?
To watch the full episode of this video, please go to the 190 Vision channel on Roku TV or Amazon Fire. Request help by visiting the 190vision.com website. Click on the Help Me tab and submit the consent form. Join others that are on the path of manifesting their best life through the 190 Vision Facebook group. Learn more about other topics by listening to podcasts on the 190 Vision Spotify channel or by watching videos on the 190 Vision YouTube channel. Help support the 190 Vision community by clicking on the Donate button that is located at the bottom of every page on our website.